kids, it's me, Toni HomePerm, and I am barefaced today. It's time to give the skin a break. I've been doing a lot of videos with a lot of looks, which is a lot of fun, but I just wanted to take a break from doing a full look today. I was actually doing some preliminary work for my annual Wet n Wild Halloween review video. I happened to notice something, and I felt that this information deserved a video all of its own. So I happened to pick up a couple of new palettes from the latest Wet n Wild Halloween collection, and as it turned out, they weren't quite so new, not as new as I thought they were. The two palettes that I happened to pick up are this one, Halloween Queen, which is this. It's this beautiful blue, turquoise, purple, black, smoky kind of a palette. Really beautiful color story. Yes, Halloween Queen. And I also picked up this one, Mummy of the Year, which is this greenish, grungy, brownish, gold color story palette. So I went back into my collection to reach for some of the older palettes, and it turns out, now this is the old format that they used to do for these 10-pan palettes, different shape, but this also actually is Mummy of the Year from last year. So you can see, let me put them both sort of the same direction. They've moved the pans around, but there's the two Mummy of the Year palettes, and here we have the two Halloween Queen palettes. So I thought it was interesting that they changed the format of the palettes, but then I said, I wonder if they are exactly the same. I said, let me do some swatches. Now, I had already swatched the two new palettes separately in preparation for my review video, and they both swatched really good. But I said, I'm curious to see what would be the result if I swatched them side by side with their counterpart from last year. Okay, so let me scooch over a little bit so we have room for the swatches. I'm going to throw those up. So I'm going to first put up here the swatches for the Halloween Queen. And there was a distinct difference in the swatching, and it appears to me that they have changed the formula of their Halloween palettes. There was definitely a big improvement in the pigmentation of the shadows in these new palettes as compared to the ones from last year. And even in the feel of the palettes, I did finger swatches over my primed arm. The new shadows definitely felt smoother. They always say buttery. They definitely felt a little more buttery and creamy than the Halloween palette, the Halloween Queen, Hallow Queen palette from last year. I noticed that the pigmentation was much more intense with the new Hallow Queen palette than the one from last year. I believe it was last year, maybe even the year before. I'm not positive, but it was definitely last year or the year before. Some of the things that stood out the most for me were how much more pigmented and intense the colors were. The really deep blue in the Hallow Queen, and maybe I'll just do a little bit there, but you can see this is really intensely pigmented. I was quite impressed Let me just swatch that there for you. It's really good. I couldn't believe it. Also, the black in this palette was really, really good. Also, this teal shimmer, I was really impressed. They're really, really quite good. Okay, now the other palette, Mummy of the Year, I also found the same thing, that it seemed like this new palette was much more pigmented, more blendable. There is one color difference in the new palette. They replaced this sort of dark teal, blue, green color with this bronzy, shimmery color. I don't know why they did that, but they did make that one color change. Everything else seems to be pretty much the same. And I'll put the swatches up here. And if I didn't say it before, old palette is swatched on top. The new palette is swatched on bottom. It was the same with the Hollow Queen. And the colors are much more vivid in the new palette. The golds are much more intense. The yellow, especially, the new formula is way more yellow. The one shimmery green, this one up here, this sort of shimmery blue-green, it's really beautiful. Let me show you there and just do a little swatch here. But it's really beautiful. And the brown is really good, although it's really hard to mess up brown. And I just thought I'd show you well, let me show you the yellow, because yellow is generally a very hard color. You rarely get a good yellow in a palette, and it's good. And here is that new shade, this sort of dark bronze color. I'm just going to throw that up there. It's very nice. So I was impressed with these new palettes. I have to give credit to Wet n Wild for reformulating these Halloween palettes. They're like $4.99 at Walmart or the drugstore, and they were okay before, last year and prior, but this new formulation is really good. I was impressed. They really stepped up their game with these little Halloween palettes. They're something else. So I'm quite excited to be making a look when I do my collection review. I'll definitely be using those palettes. I'm probably going to go with the Hollow Queen. Oh, opening these is always so hard. It really is a beautiful color story, and that black is really good. That's almost unheard of for drugstore quality to have a black that good. Black is usually so patchy, and it's like gray, and you can't do much with it. I also wanted to tell you about this. I had picked this up a while ago. There was a display at Walmart, and they had a bunch of these little quads. Most of the quads they had didn't interest me, but I was curious about this one, and they were dirt cheap. I didn't even think these were. I think these were like $2.99 or something like that. There's this silver glitter and a black glitter. Those are worthless. Don't even touch them. It's like Vaseline with some glitter in it. I don't know what the point is. The sort of silver, bronzy, champagne color is okay. It's okay. But I was really impressed by the black in it. Again, I'm really impressed that Wet n Wild is putting these really decent blacks into their palettes. I mean, I'll definitely use this black. I mean, I probably won't use, definitely not using those glitters. They're a horror story. But this silver, not really my jam. But black, I always use black. And just want to compare it to the black from the Halloween palette, Halloween palette. I believe those are both the same. The Halloween may be a little bit more pigmented, slightly, but they're both pretty good. Well, there you have it. I just wanted to do a quick video and tell you about what seems to be this formula change by Wet n Wild for these little Halloween palettes. And as I said, they are $4.99. $4.99. This is the Mummy of the Year, and the quality is really good for a $4.99 drugstore palette. I was really quite surprised this year at how good the quality was. And so if you were thinking about picking up one of these little palettes, I have to tell you, I don't think you'll be disappointed. There were two other color stories, but I just wasn't feeling those other two palettes. I was feeling more of the Halloween and the Mummy of the Year, especially as far as Halloween looks. Well, if you enjoyed today's video, please hit the like button down below. If you want to keep seeing more of these videos from me, well then hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Of course, you can always catch me twice a month on my Naughty or Nice internet variety show that I do with legendary New York City drag queen, the horror diva herself, Alexis Flame. And of course, you can always catch my weekly podcast, God'll Get You for That, Walter, that I do with my good friend Tom Cat, where we review episodes of the 1970s sitcom Maude, which starred Bea Arthur many years before she did The Golden Girls. Well, that's all I have for today, kids. I hope to see you again in the next video. Bye-bye.